We are entering the heart of the Wawa Cup Series chase, and today we run one of the crown jewel events in the Wawa Cup Series. This is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the greatest racetrack in the world. And today we run 40 laps around this 2.5 mile speedway to see who will win the JBL Brickyard 400. It's the fourth race of the 2025 Wawa Cup Series chase, and it's only a 2-point gap for the championship lead. After this race, it could be wildly different heading into our last 6 races of the season. We're here in Indianapolis for the 26th race of the season in the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. This is the JBL Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hello everybody, this is AG here and welcome to the Brickyard. We are here for the 26th race of the season, the 4th race of the chase in the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. So far in the chase, we've only seen one chase driver go to victory lane. That was Duncan Ward at Road America, and even in that race, the rest of the chase field finished outside the top 10. Today, though, this is a racetrack that favors the best drivers in the series, and as you can see with our starting lineup, we got 2 of our GRT affiliate cars and the 2 strongest of the GRT affiliates starting on the front row, with Daniel Paulus Jr. winning his first pole of the season in the number 54. Number 54 went to victory lane last year. That was Matt Tuck, and I'm joined alongside Matt Tuck and Nathan Stapleton for the call of today's race here at Indianapolis. And Matt, you won this race a year ago, and you've been all in on this 54 of Daniel Paulus Jr. this season. He's got a shot at taking the points lead here 4 races into the chase. He starts in the best position possible. What does he need to do here today to get the job done and kiss the bricks here in this crown jewel event, the Brickyard 400?
Well, I think the key so far to DPJ's chase has been not to make mistakes. You know, I mean, we talk about that kind of disaster that was Road America, but he did make a good comeback out of it for what he was given. Dover had an opportunity. That car was absolutely awful at Dover. Chicagoland, it was kind of a roller coaster, but a lot of things has come our way so far, and I think this 54 team has stepped up to the plate and rebounded and got better results or let things not get out of hand. Today, I mean, same thing, you know, obviously the goal is to win, but there are some very fast cars around here, and I think ultimate goal here today, you just got to get out. If you get out of here ahead of the 23 and you're in the top 5, it is okay.
And we'll have to see how well he does from the top position. Of course, he has 11 top 5s in the last 12 races here in the Wawa Cup Series. The only time he did not finish top 5 was Road America, and he still actually had a decent finish, all things considered, in that race. But Nathan, this is a very special place. The Brickyard 400, you actually won the Body Armor Pro Series race here in May. And, of course, you have Travis Crampton in this race trying to move his way up in the championship standings. How important is it, and how special is it to win here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Well, take it from me, as I'm very close to this racetrack. This is a fairly special racetrack, just in general. It doesn't matter if it's from Indiana or not, but this is a very tricky racetrack as well. Both ends, they look the same, but both ends can be a little bit different, especially off turn 4 can sometimes kill one on the outside, so definitely have to manage that all day. Gotta manage the tires all day, and obviously, you know, I would like to follow up on the Bahama Pro Series race and have a home win for NS Racing, and really follow up the Indy 250 as well. But this is a special racetrack. Everyone wants to win here, and it's gonna be interesting on who ends up getting to catch the blitz and one of the crown jewel races on the season.
It's going to be a lot of fun here. 40 laps of action. We're expecting a fuel run just a little bit past halfway in this one. So if we get a caution around lap 10, they come down. It's going to end up being a 2-stop race. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. Last year we actually had a wreck on the very first lap of the race, and then the rest of the race went caution-free. But we had an excellent race there. We had an excellent race at Pocono, which is a similar racetrack to this one here in Indianapolis. We had a very competitive race over there. Might we see the same here today in the Brickyard 400? Here's how they line up in the championship standings. Duncan Ward still the points leader, but he's now only got 2 points on Daniel Paulus Jr. Of course, Paulus getting an extra bonus point towards the championship for winning the pole here today. Isaac Nichols has found himself 20 points behind third in the championship standings. Kirsten Bell, who starts in the third position here today, is 21 points behind. Jack Haas is 28 points behind. Logan Williams 29 points behind. And Ludovic Charette fell quite a bit after blowing an engine at Dover. 38 points behind for our defending champion. Travis Crampton 40 points behind. Laura Chung 41 points behind. And Andrew Miller, Avery Alford 52 and 54 behind. With Nathan Smith, he's had a very tough start to the chase, 77 points behind after the first 3 races. 7 races left to go until we crown a champion, including this race here today. And it's going to be a very fascinating race considering who we have up front. And we got some of our expected drivers up front, but also some not-so-familiar faces this season. Of course, it's Daniel Paulus Jr. on the pole alongside Ludovic Charette in row number 1. Kirsten Bell going to start in the third position alongside Carson Miller in the number 50 for Appalachia Motorsports. Carson's teammate Nicholas Samedillo will be starting in the 5th position here today alongside Darian Arnsdorf, who has made quite a few of these Fast 6 shootouts the past few weeks. Chase driver Avery Alford to the inside of Blaine Keys, last week's winner there in row number 4. Matthew Hubert, teammate there, the Daniel Paulus Jr., starting to the inside of Travis Crampton, rounding out the top 10 starting positions. A great qualifying effort for the 2023 Brickyard 400 winner. Drew Webb to the inside of Hallie Anderson Jr. And then we got some chase drivers here. Laura Chung, Nathan Smith. And then you got Isaac Nichols and Logan Williams there in a row. Duncan Ward, not the best qualifying effort, starting 19th. Jack Haas starting 21st. And then Andrew Miller, a very poor qualifying effort for him there in the 86, all the way back in the 34th starting position here today. But it's 40 laps. A lot can happen between now and the finish, and a lot will happen. So let's go ahead and get these drivers to roll off here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Matt, you have your driver starting on the pole position for this race here today. Is he going to go to victory lane from the pole, or will it be somebody else kissing the bricks here today in the 2025 Brickyard 400?
Well, we gotta keep things a little interesting here, because obviously, if I pick Paulus, everybody in the chat gonna be like, well, of course, bruh, he works for you. I'm gonna go the 59 and Nicholas Samedillo. Appalachia Motorsports closing up shop at the end of the year. We don't know where Samedillo is heading for next season. It's not been a great season here at all here for the 59 team, but boy, if they could score a win here in the Brickyard 400, that would be absolutely massive for him, that team, and propel him at a shot to win the Cancun Cup.
Nathan, this is your home race, of course, and you got Travis Crampton starting in the 10th position. Is he going to get the job for you guys here today, or will it be somebody else going to victory lane in Indianapolis?
Well, as much as I would like for my guy of Travis Crampton game to win here today, I don't want to pit them because Sabre Dreams is very strong. I was going to pit Samedillo, but Matt Tuck stole it from him right before I picked, so instead I'm going to go with Avery Alford. I think that team's been fairly strong, so why not? Let's give it Avery Alford with a big time win here at the Brickyard.
His second career win in the Wawa Cup Series, if he could pull it off. Team Williams has been very strong. They lead in the owner standings, and of course Duncan Ward leads in the championship coming into this race here today. But once we take the green flag, the points as they run are going to go in the favor of Daniel Paulus Jr., who will lead us to the green flag here in this Brickyard 400. All 42 drivers are ready to roll off here from Indianapolis, and it's Daniel Paulus Jr. and Ludovic Charette on the front row here for this 2025 running of the Brickyard 400. Here we go from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Daniel Paulus Jr. and Ludovic Charette about to cross the yard of bricks. Here we go. We're green flag racing here at Indianapolis. Well, lap number 1 will be led by Daniel Paulus Jr., and that's another bonus point towards the championship for him. And he's got a pretty good gap between him and Duncan Ward at the moment, so as they run, Paulus would retake the points lead, but a great start for Kirsten Bell in the 93. Ladovic Charette up to 3rd from falling back initially. Nicholas Sambidio right behind her, and then you got Carson Miller rounding out the top 5 at the moment. They're single filing out right now. Travis Crampton, oh boy, slipping back in that 98 machine. I know that is not at all what you want to see. It is hard to work your way from the back to the front here, and Crampton slipping back in that 98 machine.
Yeah, that is not a good start to the race here for Crampton. This was a guy who still was in the points contention here. So this is, and like you said, out of all the oval tracks that we go to on the calendar, you know, the intermediates to non-plated super speedways, this is the hardest racetrack to make a pass. If you don't get cautions, you know, it can be very much a track position race, and we're seeing here already 4-car breakaway at the front of this field. Paulus, Bell, Charette, Sambidio, and I think Bell wants to try and make a move here early on.
And she had a shot to the inside in turn 2, couldn't hold the inside lane, and Ladovic Charette's going to have a shot at taking second going into turn number 3. And she's going to go for it right there on the 93 machine. And it's still hard to believe Ladovic Charette has only won 1 race this season. That was at Montreal. She's going for her second win of the season, looking to rebound from what happened to her last week at Dover. Nicholas Sambidio also trying to get a run here on Kirsten Bell. He might have a shot on this 93 machine. And how about Carson Miller in the 50? Showing up here with the big names in the series here today, taking advantage of this opportunity. And he is still in the top 5, following his teammate Nicholas Sambidio, looking to the inside of Kirsten Bell.
Fantastic start from Carson Miller in the number 50, and you know, I'm not too surprised. Carson Miller points out he won 2 races earlier in a row in the Her Sprint Series, and I'm not surprised because he's had a lot of speed in these starts, especially as a late, and he has enough so he might take third away from Sambidio, and I have to watch out for that 50 machine as a sleeper here today.
We'll have to see how well the rest of the race goes for Carson Miller, if he can hold on to this position and have an opportunity at it later on. But it's going to be hard to beat these two, Daniel Paulus Jr. and Ladovic Charette. Of course, combined 7 poles and a combined 6 wins on the year between these two drivers. Paulus looking for win number 6 of the season. That would tie Drew Webb and Blaine Keys for most wins in a season, and then he would only need 1 more to break the tie for the most wins in a Wawa Cup Series season. And I know you're proud of him, Matt, for what he's been able to accomplish, but this is going to be a hard race to win with Ladovic Charette, Nicholas Sambidio, 2 longtime veterans here, and especially Sambidio, who know how to get it done right behind him. Carson Miller holding on to the 4th position. You got Isaac Nichols trying to make some moves back in here, looking for 9th on Blaine Keys, last week's winner there at Dover Motor Speedway. Darian Arnsdorf still holding on to a top 10. How about Matthew Hubert? Great run for him at the moment. They're up to the 7th position right behind Avery Alford, who's holding on to 6th. And Drew Webb holding his own right now as well in the 12th position. Great to see that out of Drew Webb. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up next year. There's Tanner Parton, Nathan Smith, Duncan Ward trying to make some moves to the inside of Hallie Anderson Jr. Got Laura Chung down in the 17th position. Not a good start for her. Bernardo Oliveira, Leonard Koshmer, and Zayden Davidson rounding out the top 20. And the 98 of Travis Crampton continues to fall in... I'm almost curious. Nothing there. That 69 tire issue was from a previous attempt, so he's still good. Not entirely sure what's up with Travis Crampton, but Nathan, I know you hate to see this for your team.
This is disappointing. At least for Crampton, I know Collins moving his way up inside the top 12, top 13, but we got a new lead change. We got Ladovic Charette as well, of course, you know, go through the field, miss a lead change, typical AG the trainer ways. And same deal is dropping back as well. And we gotta see what ends up happening. This is still a long race. It's about 50 seconds a lap here, so still got a lot of time here at the pit, and of course got that pit stop around halfway. So we gotta see what ends up happening with that.
And of course, this race is going to have a huge effect on the championship, because now you're starting to see certain chase drivers kind of separate themselves. Mainly Kirsten Bell, Daniel Paulus, and Ladovic Charette. And of course, Ladovic had her issue at Dover last week, so she's already behind. But Paulus and Bell, both top 5 in the points coming into this race, could very well jump the rest of the field. after this one here today. Good run for Jack Haas. He is just outside, actually just inside the top 10 now as he's gotten around Isaac Nichols. But then guys like Nathan Smith, Duncan Ward especially, Laura Chung back in there, and then Logan Williams has not had a good start to this race, neither has Andrew Miller, though he started back there. They're going to slip back in the points after this is all said and done, and not at all the place you want to go. But how about Carson Miller? What is going on in Appalachian Motorsports? They gave Carson a really fast car here today, and, you know, this is the team that tends to win a race each season, is this 50 machine, this uncharted car. Sam and Oskin won Dover in 23. Alex in a row won in this car in 24 at Phoenix. And Carson Miller's up to second behind our defending champion as Paul is going to slip back to fifth. Got stuck in that outside lane. And he is slipping back just a little bit here in this 54 machine. Not at all what he wants to see, especially with Ludovic Schredt leading this race. If Ludovic can rack up some wins here these next few weeks, she could very well go back-to-back in this championship. But how about Carson Miller? Starting to close in on Ludovic Schredt now here on lap number 9.
Yeah, it's strange to watch. Second week in a row, you're watching the 54 early in a run just seem to cook his tires, and he's having some troubles making the corners, but you're not out. The interesting thing about the way Indianapolis plays here with these stock cars, if you are in the draft of the leader or the ability to draft to the leader, you're not out of it. And you can see here the top 9 drivers separated by 1.6 seconds here. Any one of these top 9 here, they can stay in this lead draft when we get through this pit cycle. I genuinely believe they will have a shot to win this race. The draft is very powerful. All of these cars are dialed up here, and these are some of the fastest cars on the grid. So hold your horses here. Ludovic Schredt jumped out to that big lead here, but that is not the safest place to be here at Indianapolis.
Well, there will be a battle for second. Kirsten Bell looking to the inside of Carson Miller. That jammed them all up, and Paulus was looking on the inside of 2. Whereas turn 2 is not a place you want to get to the inside because there's not a lot of grip on the inside of that corner in particular. Matthew Hubert had a look to the inside of Avery Alford, but we're starting to get to a point where the tire wear is coming into effect, and it's going to get harder and harder to make those passes as this run goes along. Arnsdorf looking to the inside of Hubert right there. Hubert had to check up in his attempt to go get around Avery Alford, and Arnsdorf will try to make the move on Matthew Hubert, but that outside lane is going to get some grip off the exit of turn number 4. Now you got Paulus looking back to the inside of Sam Medeo for the 4th position. Paulus is definitely a driver who's still very much in this race, and so is Carson Miller, so is Kirsten Bell. Ludovic is not pulling away here in this 51 machine. So that 50 machine is holding on right to the back bumper of the 51.
Great turn 2 for Kirsten Bell in that 93 machine. And honestly, might have to watch out for that 93, the 50, and maybe a few others, but tough. Solid for Duncan Wood there in number 23. And like we already touched on it, if you fall back through the field, it's not really easy to make the way up through the field, especially late in the second half of this one. The tire's starting to go, but I'm impressed with Carson Miller here. In the number 50, you mentioned that this team tends to win this car specifically, one race a year. Could today be the day for Carson Miller to get a potentially career-altering win at the Brickyard?
Of course, Carson Miller, if he wins this race, he'd be the first driver for Appalachian Motorsports to go to victory lane in the Wawa Cup Series this season. Neither Sam Medeo or Williams have gone to victory lane yet this year. Carson Miller has an opportunity of being the first one. Paulus looking on Bell. Not enough momentum there going into the corner. And everybody wants to get some fresh tires on their cars here. You got Blaine Keys making a move on Darian Arnsdorf. And Blaine's actually moving up to... Arnsdorf slipped back quite a bit right there. He got passed by Isaac Nichols, who is also moving his way up very well. And this is the guy who's third in the points, only 20 points behind Duncan Ward. And right now he's ahead of Duncan Ward. I know Nichols would love to close in on Paulus, but Paulus is trying to make a move on Kirsten Bell. Looks like he's going to do it there in the turn number 1. That was a tight move right there for Paulus on the inside. Now Nicholas Samedeo going to have a shot as Bell washes it up the racetrack in turn 4. And Nicholas is going to slide in the 4th after all that, and Carson Miller still closing in on Ludovic. But Paulus is moving his way back up to the front. This 54 is still very much in contention for this Brickyard 400 win.
What a funny world that racing is. In the week that Appalachian Motorsports announces that they will be shutting down at the end of the season, they bring the best race cars that they've had all season going toe-to-toe here with the 54, the 51, and the 93, who are some of the best here in the sport. And Carson Miller, you want to talk about a guy, he is still, I don't have the points exactly in front of my face right now, but he's still got an outside shot to potentially be the highest uncharted driver heading or at the end of the season too. So that's not an insignificant thing here for his stock. But DPJ's car looks like it's coming back to him here a bit on the longer run, but San Mateo got a huge run off of turn 2 that time.
And Carson Miller, regardless of the fact, will have a reserve for the National Series next year. So if he even doesn't get that Wawa Cup Series ride, he could definitely be a contender over in the National Series, but he's going to get passed there by Paulus, and the drivers that just have more numbers in their ratings are going to get around him right here. But what an effort out of Carson Miller, and he can still easily get a top 10 here today, the way this race has gone for him. How about Matthew Hubert? It's not been a good season for Hubert, and he's also going to jump ship and become an owner next year as well. So we'll see what he ends up doing in his last 7 races as a driver here for Velocity-Star, and we'll see who ends up getting that 15 for Velocity-Star next year. I'm very intrigued on that one, Matt. That's going to be a lot of fun once we get the silly season in a few weeks. Nicholas San Mateo now up to 3rd. They get around Kirsten Bell and Carson Miller, and San Mateo all over the back bumper of Daniel Paulus Jr. Nicholas is a driver, only 2 career wins in the Wawa Cup Series. But outside of this season, because it's not going to happen this season, all of the other 4 rating seasons that we have done, I should say, he has finished top 3 in points in all of them. He is very consistent, has been very consistent in the past. It has not been the case here this season, but he's got a huge opportunity at breaking the all-time winsless tie again, going to 31. It's a 3-way tie between Nicholas, Fitzwater, and Blaine Keys at the current moment. And San Mateo could possibly take that away if he can win here today. And you know what? I don't want to jinx it, but he's got an opportunity of doing so. Got around Paulus right there, made it look easy, and now trying to close in on Ludovic Charette for the race lead. Nathan is speechless over the great run Nicholas has had.
He's left awestruck.
A good run here for Nicholas San Mateo on this 59 machine. And Nathan, we're closing in on the cycle of pit stops here. How crucial is this going to be here in just about 4 or 5 laps time?
Well, the key thing about this race is track position, and it's going to be very interesting of what the strategy is going to turn out to be. That's a little bit tight for
Oh, that's a little close.
Oh my goodness. It's going to be interesting of what the right call is going to be, because this has a green flag feel to it. And it's going to be interesting on the undercut or the overcut here today. And that could be the race-winning move for this Brickyard 20.
Look at this gap that we've got. We got the top 12, top 13, who are all in a line. And then 3 seconds behind, you got Zayden Davidson leading the second pack here with Laura Chung, Logan Williams, Andrew Miller in the mix with that one. Crampton continues. I mean, this is awful. This is not normal for this team at all. They're behind Philip Torres and Brad Stover at the current moment. I don't know what's up with that 98 machine, but there's going to be a conversation in NS Racing after this race, because you can't show up to a race like this, your home race, with a car like that. As here we go for the race lead. Nicholas San Mateo wants it. I actually take that back. He only has 1 career win in the Wawa Cup Series officially. That was North Wilkesboro last year. Won the Winter Showdown a year ago as well, but that was not an official points-paying win. So only 1 win in the Wawa Cup Series for Nicholas San Mateo. Looking for number 2 here today. And he is in between Ludovic Charette and Daniel Paulus Jr., 2 of the best drivers this season. Did not have a good exit, and Paulus might try to take advantage of that for the second position.
And I think as you're watching here, we talk about how the top 13 have completely broken away. These top 3 have been sort of unchallenged for the past couple of laps. And I really think without a caution, and if all 3 of these guys can hit their pit cycle right on the money, you are going to have a hard time beating them here. I mean, you see Miller and Bell, they are in a tandem, and they could work their way back up here, but The way the draft here works at Indianapolis and how important track position is, it's getting very dicey here for some of these guys about 6 on back. If you're behind Avery Alford, you need to start making some moves now. And here comes Kirsten Bell. Still can't get around the 50. What a run for Appalachia Motorsport. Appalachia versus the 54 and the 51. Not what I had on my bingo card here today, but I am all here for it.
You know, not only is Appalachian Motorsports closing at the end of the season, so is Grattan Autosport. And, you know, that this might be the moment for them here today. I mean, you got the two teams who this past week announced that they would be leaving. And, of course, Appalachian Motorsports for a different reason than Stewart's. Obviously, Caleb going to be running the National Series next year, and we wanted to make sure that it was fair to all the other team owners with him running a series with the same exact ratings format, that would not be a conflict of interest in that regard. And Nicholas Samedeo is trying to get one more for his owner there, Caleb Rose, who has kept both of his drivers all 3 seasons of the Wawa Cup. He's the only team to do so in this series, so it's a shame we had to do something about that. But we appreciate all that Caleb does here on the channel, and here we go, right at halfway. Hubert and Jack Haas, the first 2 down, and we actually have someone who came on lap 19.
In front of them?
That's Laura Chung in the 20 machine. That does not, that's a normal stop for Laura Chung, so we'll see how that works out for Laura. She was in that second pack. Hubert and Jack are down the pit lane. A lot of guys from the back of the field are down. I'd imagine the rest of the field, or most of them, going to be coming down this time by. Paulus to the inside of Samedeo, but I think Nicholas is going to stay on the outside. No. Nicholas is going to have to give way to Paulus as they enter the pit lane right here. And I think Nicholas may end up staying out another lap. Or no, he's going to drive around him on the outside and hold on to that second position. Here comes everybody else down the pit lane. It's a very long racetrack, so that fuel window, a very narrow lap count in that regard. So they want to make sure they hit their marks right here at halfway. Going to cross lap 22 right here. Has Logan come down the pit lane yet? Don't believe he has, and he's going to lead a lap right there. So a bonus point towards the championship for Logan Williams through the pit cycle. Off the pit lane first was Matthew Hubert ahead of Jack Haas. And now it is a busy pit lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ludovic Charette and Daniel Paulus Jr., 2 of the first stalls. The 2 first stalls here at Indianapolis. Let's see who gets off first. Going to be very tight. They all came right on each other here. Looks like Nicholas Samedeo might be the first one to get off of his pit stall, and it's going to be tight there with Carson Miller, but he is going to keep a similar distance between him and Ludovic Charette. Paulus is right behind. You got Carson Miller, Avery Alford. How about Duncan Ward slowly moving his way through this field, trying to get closer to Paulus, trying to hold on to the points lead. They were side by side on the entry, and they're going to be side by side on the entry again. Duncan Ward trying to get to the inside. You can't do that there, especially to your teammate. Here comes Hubert and Jack Haas.
Oh my!
Going to have a little bit of an advantage here because they came down a lap earlier. They're going to get around Paulus. They got a full head of steam right now, but those tires are going to give way a little bit quicker than Charette, Samedeo, and Paulus if this race stays green. But Hubert, a lot of speed in that 15 right now with Jack Haas behind him.
This is exactly what I was talking about. The strategy aspect of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. If you do the undercut, you can do exactly what Hubert and Jack Haas are doing. But if you do the middle of the road or even the overcut with Logan Williams, he's not had a great one, but having a couple of first tires, he might be able to close in and get a couple of extra spots late. But all of a sudden, we have to worry about Matthew Hubert to possibly steal his race win. Same with Jack Haas and Duncan Wood as well. Might sneak into the top 5. So, gotta love Indy. Gotta love the strategy part of it, and a bad strategy and or pit stop from the number 93 there.
Yeah, they're going to lose quite a bit of time. There's Aiden Davidson actually jumped up to these guys in the 0-0. And Logan Williams quite a ways behind from where he was. I don't think that extra lap's going to really help him too much in the long run, but we'll see. Those tires are going to give way last compared to everybody else around him. Andrew Miller's actually had a pretty solid jump considering where he started, up to 18th, but still, you can't be running 18th and expect to win the championship. Nathan Smith back there as well, and here we go. You know it's going to happen. Matthew Hubert, Jack Haas, all these guys in a line, all pulling off each other. They're going to swallow Ludovic Shred up here in a few laps, and we're going to have ourselves a 5-car battle for this Brickyard 400 win. And 2 of these guys have not won all season, and 1 has never even won in the Wawa Cup Series. That's Hubert in the 15, who, let's face it, has been playing second fiddle to Daniel Paulus Jr., their team Velociter all season. He's now shining in the moment here in Indianapolis, and he's got a huge opportunity of getting his first ever Wawa Cup Series win at one of the biggest tracks on the schedule.
I mean, it's been an up and down roller coaster for Huber this season. I mean, you know, it's definitely not gone the way that I think we all thought it was going to go, but boy, what a moment this could be here. You know, with just a handful of races to go left in his driving career to break through. I mean, we're about to have a GRT 1, 2, 3 at the Brickyard 400. Guys, I swear, if there was a track in the Chase, an oval, I was like, we're going to bomb it. It was going to be this racetrack. But the boys and girls have come out here at GRT with some fast race cars today, but do not count out this 59 or this 39 here. But they need to get organized, because last lap, Matthew Huber only took 100th of a second out, and my 2 eyes tell me, folks, Nathan, I don't know about you, but my 2 eyes tell me they're not gaining on Ludovic Charette that fast.
They are not. And they actually a lot of time. And I have to agree, they have to get organized. It doesn't matter who is lean, but these 4 have to realize, hey, if we want to battle for second, sure, let's race. But if we want a chance to win at the Brickyard, we need to work together and catch up with that 51. Well, Ludovic's just going to run away with this thing.
Well, you have Paulus and San Mateo who are on the same tire strategy as Ludovic, and I think those are the 2 you want leading, because they are faster now than Hubert and Jack Haas at the moment. Paulus trying to close up to his teammate for the second position, and you can see the speed difference between Paulus and Hubert right there. Even San Mateo's falling off. A great lap there for Daniel Paulus Jr. Little ways behind, you got Duncan Ward, who's not too far off, and a great rebound for him considering where he started in this race. And he's only about 5 seconds off the race lead at the current moment, so we'll see. He's closing in, so we'll see if he has anything for these guys as we move on throughout the race. Here comes Paulus looking for second. Not going to be able to get the run to the inside of Hubert. And Nicholas San Mateo there still holding on to the 4th position, but Charette's kind of in a good position. There's no lap cards in this race. Everybody is still on the lead lap, including LJ Cimento, who's currently in the last position right now. Tough break for LJ Cimento, and I'd like to see him rebound at some point. Daytona 500 champion from a couple years ago in Crampton. This is going to seal his fate in this championship battle, all the way down to 31st on that 98 machine. I don't know what happened to him. The next lowest chase driver is Logan Williams. Oh my goodness, that got tight there with Arnsdorf. We've had a caution-free race up to this point. Doesn't mean we won't be caution-free the rest of the way after what we just saw right there. That was tight. Whereas Williams has those fresher tires and has an advantage on all these guys around him right now. But definitely not what he wanted in this one, trying to close in on the championship. And now you got San Mateo making a move on Paulus, who got passed again by Hubert, and they can't be doing this and expect to close up the Ludovic Charette, because that 51 is going to pull away with this thing. Coming to 12 laps to go here in the JBL Brickyard 400.
No, I mean, we've seen this multiple times. Stock Car World Cup, if you don't get in a line, you're not chasing the leader down here. It's not possible. 2.32. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
She's on a rail right now, that 51 machine. Nobody around her, and she's got to hope a repeat of last week does not happen. Because if that ends up being the case, it's just going to be ugly. Oh my! Paulus just sent Jack Haas into the wall. There were sparks there off the exit at turn number 4, and that 39 machine falling back there. He's going to have some damage, and Duncan Ward is flying in this 23, and that is not at all what Paulus wanted to see right there, because Duncan can hold on to the points lead if he can get around this 54 machine. And Duncan Ward will have a very good chance at this title if he can, even the way they currently run, I think he'd still barely hold on to it. Nah, they'd be tied, actually. They would be tied going into Iowa next week. That could have been a lot worse, though. We could have seen ourselves a wreck off the exit of the corner, and Jack Haas, minimal damage on that 39, but That's going to slow him down, take him out of contention, and here comes Duncan Ward to the inside of Paulus. Going to make that look easy for the third position. This 23 is flying here in Indianapolis, and Ludovic might have to worry about Duncan Ward at this point.
I think Duncan made some adjustments on pit road, his crew made some adjustments on pit road, because this 23 is absolutely hauling the mail right out here at the Brickyard. And, you know, I've seen time and time again here at Indianapolis where you think it's a caution-free race, and then something silly happens that we almost thought, oh no.
Fuel system bad on the 62. That's a shame. Didn't really have a good start to this race. He's been struggling a lot, but once again, another problem. He had that whole streak back in April where it was like 4 straight races where he finished 40th or worse because of mechanical failures, and once again, another one here. If Duncan and Paulus get around Hubert, they could easily mount a charge to Ludovic in this race, but they keep losing time now. Ludovic's now got a 3.5 second lead on the field, and she's just cruising in that 51 for Grattan Autosport. Trying to get Grattan Autosport only their 3rd win of the season. Both Ludovic and Drew have won each this year, and Ludovic in a very good position to get her 2nd win of the season. Here we go for 2nd. Duncan Ward to the inside of Matthew Hubert. That is for the 2nd position. And the gap stayed the same that lap, and Duncan Ward is going to take Paulus with him, and they might have a shot at closing in on Ludovic for this race lead.
They have a slim shot. I mean, folks, they're going to need half a second a lap to have a shot, and now Ludovic Charette is going to get the slipstream off of Thomas Troxel, assuming that he can just hold speed for about half a lap here. I mean, this is impressive pace from the 51 here. This is one of the hardest oval tracks to just run away from on the entire calendar, and she has absolutely just said lights out and has run away from 2 of the fastest cars on the grid here today. 3.42, 3.1. It's coming down, but that's not fast enough. And I will say, you know, don't count this 51 out of this championship just yet. I know she's not in an advantageous points position here, but you got Watkins Glen, Daytona, and a bunch of oval tracks left that we know how good this 51 is. So do not count her out of this championship.
And of course, a win here today would help her out in that 38-point hole that she put herself in, but it's not going to help that the points leader is now running 2nd. So it's going to be a minimal gain in that regard. We'll see what the difference is here. Ludovic going to try to close in on Troxel. Use Troxel to her advantage, trying to move up and get some time on Duncan Ward. But that 23 machine is closing in. Just barely, though, that time around. And at this point, I think they're going to need a caution and a restart to have any opportunity in Ludovic. And that is not what Ludovic wants to see, is a yellow flag at this point. She's got a 3-second lead. All she's got to do is just keep the car rolling for 7 more laps, and she's going to get a Brickyard 400 race victory here today. It'll be her 2nd win of the season if she can pull it off. Jack Haas still running 5th, Nicholas Sambadio in 6th. Isaac Nichols, Blaine Keys, Kirsten Bell, and Carson Miller still holding on to a top 10 run in that 50 machine. Zane Davison, Avery Alford has fallen to 12th. Andrew Miller's rebounded fairly well, up to the 13th position now, and it's not going to get him in championship contention, but you got to give him a lot of credit considering where he started here today. Nathan Smith in 14th, Bernardo de Oliveira, Logan Williams, Trey Bartow, Leonard Kochmer, Darian Arnsdorf, and Bruno Diacomo, the top 20 at the moment. And the only, well, Laura Chung also with a poor run in this race. That's going to send her further down on the points, and Travis Kemp as well. This might be it for those 2 drivers in terms of the championship. Ludovic Charette getting the pull off of Thomas Troxel now. The big question is, will Troxel get in the way of Ludovic Charette, and will Duncan Ward and Daniel Pauls close in because of it? It's going to be 5 laps to go. Next time by for Ludovic Charette and Grattan Autosport here in the JBL Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis.
And what a dominant performance this has been for Ludovic Charette. 5 laps to go. And at this point, it's probably going to be it for this race win. But we've seen crazy things before. Remember Michigan? Let's do a year or two ago, that could happen again. I don't want to say it, but
it ain't over till it's over. I mean, just remember the Indianapolis 250. John Andrews was leading with, was it 5 laps to go? 4 or 5 laps to go, and had a tire go down while from the race lead in that one late in the going. That's what gave way to Brendan Williamson winning the Indy 250 earlier this year. And this is a track that can definitely take a toll on the equipment. And we saw engine failure become a problem for Ludovic Charette last week at Dover. It ain't over till it's over. And you know, how is she going to get around Troxel here? That's also a big factor as well. Paulus wants to get around Duncan Ward. Wants to at least tie in the championship going into Iowa next week. And he's got a nose to the inside of the 23 for that second position. And this could be crucial towards the championship because these two guys are the two that are going to more than likely go after it these next 6 races, looking to get this Wawa Cup Series title. And Paulus going to take that spot back away from Duncan Ward. Hubert is still in 4th, and Nicholas Sambidio now in the 5th position. He's gotten around Jack Haas, but he's now 6.5 seconds off the race lead, and Ludovic's now behind Troxel. That 51 is faster than the 62 in this given moment, but it's going to be hard for her to pass that 62 machine. She's got to be careful once again. Another battle for second. Duncan Ward was looking back to the inside of Paulus, could not get there. And Ludovic still stuck behind Troxel, and we'll see if there's any gain here. It's going to be 3 laps to go in Indianapolis for Ludovic Charette. It's going to be a second a lap if Paulus is going to have any shot. And only 6/100ths that lap around, and it's just not going to cut it. So Ludovic in a good position, just play it safe with Troxel, and she's going to get this race victory.
Been as impressive of a performance as I think we've seen the 51 put on, perhaps really since the championship stealer last year at Darlington. One of the best performances I've ever seen in this series. If that car didn't blow up last week at Dover, we'd be talking about a Ludovic Charette on the verge of a runaway here. But she's going to have to come from behind the 8 ball if she wants a shot at this championship here. But 5 miles to go at Indianapolis. And Ludovic Charette just 8 corners away from 1A, 1B, the biggest win of her Wawa Cup Series career.
And she's going to finally get around Troxel, and that might seal it right there. 3.3 seconds back down the Paulus, and now we got a lot going on back here. Blaine Keys trying to make a move for the 5th position on Isaac Nichols. They closed up the Sambidio. A great battle here for that 5th position. And how about Blaine Keys? He turned on the Jets here in the chase, even though he missed the chase. And Andrew Miller on the verge of a top 10 right now. This 86 has found a lot of speed late in the going. And Miller, you know, he's going to move up in the standings from that. Not going to really have a shot at the title at this rate, but still a great run for Andrew Miller. And here we go. White flag is in the air. Troxel actually got back around Ludovic. So she's playing it safe at the moment. But here we go. 1 lap to go in the Brickyard 400 for Ludovic Charette and Graham Autosport. Gotta be careful not to take herself out trying to get around Troxel again. Lost about half a second that lap in that move that Troxel made. But Ludovic Charette only has 3 more corners to go to win here in Indianapolis. Get her 2nd race win of the season. Down the backstretch for the final time here in the JBL Brickyard 400. And Ludovic Charette, last year's champion, won 4 times last year. This is only going to be her 2nd win of the season. And it's going to get her a bit closer to the points lead, but not by much. But she's not going to care about that today because she's going to go to victory lane and kiss the bricks here. Ludovic Charette wins the JBL Brickyard 400 here in Indianapolis. Daniel Paulus Jr. will finish 2nd. Duncan Ward will be 3rd. And I believe we're going to have a tie for the points lead going into Iowa next week. It's Paulus and Ward. I think Paulus gained 3 points on the 23 here today. What a drive out of Duncan Ward from where he started. Matthew Hubert will get a top 5, and Blaine Keys rounds out the top 5 with Isaac Nichols, Kirsten Bell, Nicholas Sambidio, Zay Davison, and Carson Miller, the top 10.
What a run here for the 51. Back-to-back Brickyard 400s for the Grattan Autosport crew, and could be wrong. I think that's back-to-back 1-2s for the 51 and the 54 here as well, because I think it was Ludovic Charette was runner-up last year. Blaine Keys was in that dogfight, so I don't fully remember.
I know you won it. That's all I remember.
I know I won it, and I know Ludovic Charette was. I think it was Ludovic Charette second. So back-to-back 1-2s here for the 51 and the 54. I think it's safe to say. I do think it's safe to say, you know, there are some very good drivers left in this chase who, if something chaotic happens, I'm looking at you, Isaac, Kirsten, and Jack. But I think it is safe to say at this moment in the season, the 51, 54, 23, it is a completely different class that they are in. When they are all on their A game, I mean, they pulled away. I mean, they dragged Matthew Huber with them today, but they are in a class of their own, and what a dominating win for Ludovic Charette here today.
And that's only her second win of the season as well. But her first in Indianapolis, and a big one there. And, you know, the week that Stewart announces that his team will not be returning next year, and he gets the win as an owner here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's got to be a special one for those guys. Take a look at the rest of the results. The only driver who had any sort of an issue here today was Thomas Troxel in the number 62, 2 laps down from the fuel leak issue, but everybody else finished on the lead lap here today. And definitely a wild race back in the field for certain drivers like Travis Crampton and Laura Chung, who fell back almost instantly. They just had nothing in their cars to compete with everybody else. But outside of that, it was a pretty calm race. And Ludovic Charette is going to be the race winner, and she's going to move up a little bit in the standings. But Duncan Ward and Danny Paulus Jr., I think, are going to be tied for the points lead going into Iowa. And realistically, this championship, Ludovic has a chance at closing up. And if she can pull this one off, that's going to be more impressive than what she did last year, because she was always up there with Blaine Keys the whole season throughout the chase. Here, Paulus and Ward are in a league of their own at the moment, and Ludovic is the one that's a few points behind. She's still going to be over 30 points off the points lead after this, because Paulus and Duncan were right there. But it's going to be one of those three. The way it's looking right now, it's going to be one of those three. But we still have Watkins Glen. We still have Daytona. Iowa can be a little goofy at times. Richmond, you know, who knows what's going to happen there. You got Homestead, you got Darlington as the finale. This may have been one of the last just normal racetracks where not much really happens, because the next 6 races, a lot is going to happen. And Nathan, I know your driver might not be a part of it at this point, but who do you think is going to have the best shot, and how do you think it's going to go down these next 6 weeks?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think really the top 7 are really going to have a really competitive chance, but it's going to be very interesting what ends up happening with these top 2 of Duncan Ward and Daniel Paulus Jr. I think those 2 are going to be the cars to beat for this championship. And because the 2011 situation, I know we still got 6 crazy races to go, but because the 2011 situation where maybe, just maybe, they tie at Darlington for the championship, I don't know. But those 2 cars are almost identical right now on speed, and it shows it with them being most likely tied for the point standings leaving tonight, or leaving today before Iowa. And it's going to be a fun race to the season finale here for this year of the Wawa Cup Series. Tough day for my team, don't know what happened, but regardless, a great win from Ludovic Charette, a dominating performance, and gets the win at the JBL Brickyard 400.
Yeah, she's going to celebrate her 6th career win here in the Wawa Cup Series here today, and arguably she could have had more this season if certain things went a different way, but we'll just have to see how the rest of the season plays out. It is going to be an interesting fight to the championship, and I think these next few races are going to be pretty wild, and who knows how it's going to go down. It's going to be a lot of fun. Next week, we're at Iowa. Next Friday night, the Iowa Corn 350, and then that's a very wild short track there in the Midwest, and the pit strategy can be very interesting there as well. Just ask Ludovic Charette from that race, and Blaine Keys, they both had issues in that race last year, and that actually ended up going to Drew Webb a year ago, so we'll see how that ends up shaking out. It's going to be a wild one from Iowa. Then you got Watkins Glen, which historically, well, Ludovic won there last year, but 2 years ago, Grattan Autosport imploded on themselves, and that did not go too well for you guys, Matt, in that year. And then you got Richmond, which, might be the most normal racetrack left on the schedule. Daytona after that, which, that always flops in the favor of other teams that have not had good runs in the season. Homestead is the penultimate race, which might actually favor guys like Ludovic and Daniel in that one. And then, of course, the finale at Darlington. And all 6 of these upcoming races, very unique from one another. I mean, Iowa and Richmond are similar shape, but they race very differently from each other. So buckle up. It's going to be a lot of fun here in the race of the chase, the race of the championship here in the Wawa Cup Series. Congratulations to Ludovic Schrader on her Brickyard 400 race victory here today in Indianapolis. Here are the point standings for the Wawa Cup Series after 26 races. And on behalf of Matt Tuck and Nathan Stapleton, we'll see you guys next week from the Iowa Speedway and the Iowa Corn 350. I will see you guys later.